What's up, Gila golfers? Welcome down to this week's episode of the Tarik on the Sweet Spot. In conjunction, we are doing this in collaboration with Pugh Malaysia, and I would like to welcome my partner in crime, the one and only Mr. Jonathan Ponniah, managing editor of Pugh Malaysia.
Yo, Sean. How are things,
Hi,
man? Good to
Jono.
see you again.
Good to see you,
Great to be
brother.
back. Likewise.
Yep. So today's episode, we're going to have a quick Tarik session, right?
Yep.
We're going to talk to one of our professional golfers and also a European Tour Caddy, right? We also are going to bring up a few topics. We're going to get them to discuss a few pointers on what's currently happening on their perspectives in terms of as a player and what's going on tours, right?
Yep. So it's going to be fun, huh? Today we're going to talk mainly about professional golf. Where things stand right now for the various tours. What's happening. What televised golf just came back over the weekend. With the tailor-made driving relief featuring
That's right.
Rory, Dustin Johnson, Ricky Fowler, and Matthew Wolff. We also had a actual tournament happened in Korea, the KLPGA Championship, with no spectators, just for TV, and there were a few high-profile players there as well. And over in Europe, we had the BMW Indoor Invitational presented by TrackMan, which was very interesting because it was a virtual tournament where the players actually competed where they were, from their homes or perhaps where there's a golf simulator, and they actually competed against each other. We had people like Lee Westwood, Thomas Bjorn. So it's a 5-leg event that was very, very interesting. There's still, I think, 3 more legs to go. So yeah, it's been a good weekend for professional golf. The return of professional golf, so to speak. Not live tournaments with spectators yet, but yeah, it's been interesting to see how things go from here.
At least there's some movement, and I'm guessing it's a welcome news for a lot of fans, players. Everybody who's related to the golf industry.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, we've all been starved of watching the likes of Tiger Woods and Rory and Dustin and even our own Gavin Green playing. So yeah, it's welcome to see that golf is coming back to a certain extent. Hopefully, the tours will get back online soon. I think most of the tours have scheduled events for maybe late July. PGA Tour, European Tour slightly later, Asian Tour. Current next event on schedule is in September in Korea, but hopefully things happen fast and tournaments come back even earlier than scheduled.
Yeah, but it's a good start. I mean, at least they're getting to the new norm, right? The industry is starting to adapt to it. You've never heard of people hitting off a simulator in a tournament, right? So it is giving a bit of hope to those in the industry, I'm guessing. Right? And like you said, we've missed a lot of the professional players. We've not seen them for a while. Now people are getting to see them, whether it's without fans or something. It's still giving hope, right? In terms of adapting to the current norm.
Correct.
Okay, so
and also,
I think you're saying?
Yeah, I know, but something interesting over the the time when the tours were the downtime for the tours, so to speak. So a lot of the professional players took to social media, to occupy their time. Not just occupy their time, but I think also to keep connected to their fans. So they were doing stuff like little challenges at home. They had the ladder challenge. With Billy Horschel, Sarah Kemp. So some Anirban Lahiri did something very, very interesting with his wife. They started a show called Cooking with the Lahiris, which was really interesting, where they show people how to make their favorite Indian dishes. So it shows that the pros are adapting as well, and social media has become so important for them, not just to obviously they work out a lot as well. So some of them post their workout regimes online on social media. Padraig Harrington has a series of golf instructions which has proven to be very popular. So that's all been happening online. But more importantly, I think for the pros is to remain connected with their fans, to keep relevant in the time when they cannot get to the fairways. So they've all been taking to the airways.
Wow, you're rhyming, John.
Yeah.
Well done. That's
Yeah,
good. That's
yeah, all
not bad. That's
right.
not bad. Yeah, you're right, bro. I mean, I guess it's also it's something across the board. It's not just in golf. I guess a lot of
Correct,
professionals have
correct,
had to keep in touch, right? Of course, we
correct.
are a golf show, but it's across the industry. So the only way for you to be remembered is so that it make sure that you're still relevant, right? So people need to see you,
Correct.
things, keep in touch. Your fan base. At end of the day, it is your fans who makes you
Yeah,
who you
correct.
are, right?
Yeah, it's a two-way thing. I mean, the fans need the professionals, to provide the entertainment. Golf is a big industry. Professional golf is a big thing. It's an entertainment industry as well, and vice versa. The professional players need their fans. So
Yeah, true.
social media has proven to be a huge avenue for them to stay connected, to stay relevant to their fans, to remind their fans that hey, they're still around. So yeah, so it's
Yeah,
been good.
yeah.
Yeah,
So when they come back, when we do get to go back out to our new norm, they will still all
yep,
be following these players, right?
correct,
Okay.
correct.
So we bring in our guest for this week, John? Are you think you're ready
Yep,
for them?
yep, yep.
Okay,
We
so let's
are,
bring
we
up our
are.
first guest for today, Mr. Danny Chia. Drum roll.
Hi guys, how are you?
Hey,
Damn.
Danny, good to see
Hi,
you. Good to
Danny.
see you.
Yeah. Hi
Thanks for being on
Jonathan.
the show.
Hey.
Thanks for being on the show.
Hi Sean.
Yeah. Hi, Danny. Welcome to the show. Next, we
Thanks.
have
Thank you.
Mr. Nick Pugh.
Hi
There we
guys,
have
how
Hey,
you
it.
Nick.
doing?
Hey Nick.
Nick. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for
All the
having me
way
Good
on.
shit.
from Brunei Darussalam, Mr. Nick Pugh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exciting Brunei at the moment.
correct, correct.
Welcome, guys. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So this week's episode is called the Tea Tarik session. We're just going to have a sit down, simple, informal chat on
Okay.
your view on what's currently happening in the world of golf, and how are we all going to just move on with life from now?
Yep. So maybe before we start, for those of you who probably been living under a rock, some background on Danny Chia. Really needs no introduction. I mean, he's a trailblazer for Malaysian golf since he turned pro in 1996. So he's kind of old as well. Yeah. So most people. Danny's played on tour actively for a long time. So the highlights being he's the only Malaysian who's won twice on the Asian Tour, and both times in Taiwan in 2002 and 2015. But most importantly, in 2010, Danny became the first Malaysian to make the cut in a men's major at the British Open. Yeah, so
Wow.
that was a huge moment for Malaysian golf, and I was there. Thankfully, I was there. Yeah, so it was a great moment to see Danny. Yeah, we actually waited to see when the cut line came, so it was kind of a bit of tension there. But yeah, Danny made history at the home of golf itself. And we also have Nick. Nick, good to see you again. A familiar face in Malaysia, having lived here for many years. So Nick's
Yeah, I
done
lived in
everything.
Malaysia for 9 years.
Yeah, Nick's done everything in professional golf. He's been a teaching professional, back in England, back in the day. Uh, he's played competitively on the Asian Development Tour for about 5 years. Yeah, he went on to become a brand ambassador, was an MC for events. His latest incarnation is a professional caddy. Yeah, having carried
Latest
for
incarnation, I like that.
the likes of the late Ari Irawan, Malaysia's own Ari Irawan, Asian Tour #1, Jazz Jane Watananon. Did I get that right? Yeah,
Close enough.
Lucas Herbert last year, and now for American Johannes Veerman, who plays on the European Tour.
Mm,
So welcome, guys.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
Good to
having
have you on
us.
the show.
Sorry, guys. Just one check. I think there's an echo on someone's feed, either a phone or a laptop, maybe. Because I'm hearing ourselves twice.
Oh,
Is it
Yeah,
me?
I've only got one. No, I can only afford one device.
Anybody
maybe my
echoing?
iPad.
No.
I don't know. Maybe my iPad.
Okay. No worries. No worries. No worries.
Okay.
Is it
There
Okay.
you
all
go.
good?
Go on.
Yeah.
Okay,
There we go, Danny. Thank
Is
you,
it better?
Danny.
Sorry.
think so.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Let's go, Jono. Let's take it away.
Okay, so okay, this question we're going to start off with talking about professional golf as a whole, and where things are going. So I think recently over the weekend we had a couple of unique events take place. We had the tailor-made driving relief in the US, and then you had something in Europe called the BMW Indoor Invitational, powered by TrackMan. This like the tailor-made driving relief took place without spectators. It was made for TV. We had four players: Rory, Dustin, Ricky, and Matthew Wolf. While the BMW event was actually played virtually, they were actually in their homes using a TrackMan monitor on a simulator and competing against each other. So maybe we'll start with Danny. What do you think? Do you think that this is the way that professional golf might head to a certain extent, in addition to the normal four-round events?
I think for the time being, at the crisis, I think this is a good way to go. But in long term, I think you still have to go back to the normal play. I mean, like I played the TrackMan tournament before, a couple of years back.
Mhm.
Or not under TrackMan, it's under another simulator. I mean,
Okay.
they're real enough, but still, compared to me, I think because in the real sport, you're talking about physical stamina. You walk for 4 day, 4 round, and of course, it's going to be a different compared to you are actually there and you're not there. Just playing on a simulator. For the time being, I think it's a great idea to get things rolling. I mean, my main concern is still that we gotta make sure the virus are gone, are no more a threat, so that everybody can get back to their normal daily life. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I guess there's no substitute for the four-round event. With spectators and all. But again, I guess maybe having spectators on site may be something that may not happen for a while. So, Nick, do you concur with Danny? That golf is not really golf unless it's a four-round event. With the actual play. Rather than simulated play.
Yeah, I think it's obviously a good idea to get some kind of golf on TV and give something for people to watch. But yeah, it's just a temporary measure to get people back interested in golf. Hopefully, you can't substitute 4-round proper tournaments with weather that's changeable, and having the spectators there to actually applaud shots and to react to different situations. I mean, that's what makes golf tournaments, professional golf tournaments, what they are. It's going to be very strange coming back to professional golf without the spectators there at all. It's going to be very, very eerie and very quiet, but also it'll be quite. The spectators help you from a golf point of view. You know whether you've hit a good shot on a blind hole because the crowd make noise and react, and you can hear other people making birdies on the golf course. So yeah, it's going to be quite eerie coming back to empty golf courses.
Yeah, that's very true, Nick. I mean, nothing like spectators in any sport, I guess. But golf being very television driven, we might see, the tours kick off the first few events without any spectators. So, for Danny, I mean, will that be strange for you, playing without spectators?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you probably feel like you're just playing with friends and or not even close to a pro-am. So yeah, you'll be feeling like you're playing with friends. And I think it takes away a lot of excitement and anxiety out of the player as well.
Yeah, so sticking to Danny, as you can see, from Danny's backdrop, Danny's actually in a hotel room in Putrajaya at the Le Meridian because Danny got back from Japan last week and, according to government regulations, got quarantined. So, Danny, could you perhaps tell us a bit about your experience being in Japan for the last 2 months, coming back, getting quarantined, and I think it's your 7th day in quarantine, right? So just share with us some of your experience.
Yeah, I left Malaysia to Japan on the 13th of March. At that time, I think the virus didn't really kick in that bad yet. I think it's after 2 days I left, the cases have went skyrocket. So I was there, and then I was supposed to go there to do my entertainer visa for the year, and play the challenge tour over there. So when I was there, when I reached there, you know, they informed me that the challenge show was postponed to don't know when. And then so I thought, you know, okay, since the tournament is postponed, then might as well I do my visa right there. So I went and submit my passport and fill out the form and do the visa. I think 3 days later, the cases increased a lot in Tokyo. So the government sector, a lot of them has shut down. So basically, my submission has been on hold, but my passport was with them. So from there, I think it took about 1 month for me to get back my passport and my visa. So I got my visa done. Then the second problem came. The flight got cancelled. We can't fly back to Malaysia. So I think the flight got delayed for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, yeah. So end up I stayed in Japan for 2 months. Yeah.
But you're actually planning to come back in mid-April.
Yeah, but the airline can't fly, so they delayed my flight for 2 weeks. Yeah. So it's a good and bad thing. I mean, like in Japan, the government can't force a lockdown on the country, and a lot of it is you know, the announcement by the prime minister that you have to self quarantine, you have to self lockdown. You know, like your restaurant, you know, you have to self lockdown. We can't force you to do it. You know, therefore we got people, some open, some closed. You know, like the pachinko shop. You know, the government actually had a big worry for them because, you know, in Japan is a culture for, you know, for a lot of the old folks play in the pachinko, and you know, the pachinko shop, I think they pay a lot of tax to the government as well, so they can't afford to shut down that long.
Okay.
So then you start to have pachinko. I mean, when the cases are up in Tokyo, you know, even though the government advised all the pachinko shop has to close, all the indoor entertainment center had to close, but still there are a few smaller scale pachinko shop that stay open. Therefore, they are packed with people inside every day. So I mean, that's one of the reasons why I think in Tokyo the cases was a bit out of control. One of the reasons was due to that. But other than that, you know, I've been playing golf every day. On the golf course, all the golf course, yeah, all the golf course is open. But they enforce everybody that goes to the club, they have to wear a mask and then keep the social distance. Do not touch the bunker rate. Do not touch the pin.
Okay.
And stuff like that. You know, I mean, a lot of the golf course that I played, that we actually had to walk, so we never sit in the buggy anyway. So that was a good thing.
Okay.
And yeah, you know, we sanitize in and out the golf course, in and out the golf club, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, but when you got back to KL, that was last Friday. Perhaps you could share with our viewers, you know, a little bit about your experience about the quarantine. You know, getting used to the hotel.
Yeah, actually, before I fly, the 2 days before I fly, I went on the YouTube a lot. You know, like to see how the Malaysian going back to Malaysia, what do they face, and you know, what kind of procedure do they have to go through. I even went on the Facebook and joined this group. I think it's called Malaysia Coronavirus Malaysia Quarantine Support Group. So I get a lot of information how people are going through. You know, so when I landed, I think first they will make you line up. You can't walk straight to the luggage claim area. You have to line up just outside the exit. So keep the 1 meter distance, and then they will call you up, go one by one to go through the scanner first. I think the scanner to make sure you are not in high fever, and then after that you have to line up again for the swab test. So I went through the swab test. Then we line up again for our luggage. So we pick our luggage and then we go for the bus. We wait for the bus. While we're waiting for the bus, all our luggage is been sanitized.
Okay.
Yeah. So when the bus arrived, each bus they allow 18 passenger go on the bus. So pretty much it's one person, one seat. So they took us to Lee Meridian, Putrajaya, to check in.
Okay.
So all in all, took I think since I landed until I check in, it took me about 3.5 hours. Yeah.
And your golf course and your room overlooks the golf course, Palm Garden Golf Club. So that's a bit ironic. I don't know if they did that on purpose. Yeah, so Danny, okay, Danny's going to show us.
Yeah, you can see it.
There you see from his window, a great view of Palm Garden Golf Club. So must be a bit frustrating, Danny, watching everybody play, but you're stuck in your room and can't get out there and hit some balls.
Yeah, many times I already feel like hitting a 5-iron through the window to the golf course already.
And your golf set is with you as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So my room now is actually full of golf ball on the ground. You can see my room, and then golf club everywhere.
Yeah. But overall, it's been okay. The quarantine experience, you're being treated well. Food.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I need to mention this. I think what the government doing, I think they did a fantastic job on controlling the cases in Malaysia, because even when I was in Japan, in Japan news, they actually mentioned Malaysia government, how they're handling the crisis. They actually say a lot of good things about Malaysian government. Actually, I'm very proud of what Malaysia have done for the controlling of the virus.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah, and then about the hotel, when I check in here, one day we get 3 mail put up into front of our door. Pretty good food actually, and except we have to clean our own room. There won't be any room service. Washing our own clothes. Stuff
okay,
like
so
that,
there's no laundry service. You wash your own clothes.
No. They give me a detergent.
So you're not allowed to step out even to the corridor, right? You just stay.
No. Yeah, you can't go out of the room.
Okay, so luckily your room's pretty big, so you can get in some putting and shooting practice.
I can do about a 10-meter chip shot, and yeah.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Better than nothing.
Yeah, just hope I don't break anything.
So okay, thanks Danny for that insight into being under quarantine. Nick, as a professional caddy without tournaments right now, it must be kind of tough for you over the last couple of months. So how have you been keeping yourself occupied?
Yeah, it's been pretty dull, if I'm honest. I mean, initially when you come home, it's kind of quite nice to spend a bit of time at home, because normally you're on the road so much and traveling. But after a couple of weeks of that, and doing a few jobs around the house, and we took in a couple of rescue dogs off the street, and we've been training them up, and I built them a kennel out of wood, which I haven't built anything with my hands for years and years. So I've been trying to do a few things to keep me busy, but there you go. There's Walter and Jesse. I've been trying to do a few things to keep busy, but it's different for a caddy. I mean, if you're the player, then and you can still play golf, or you can still practice and hit balls, and you can kind of still perfect your art. You can still carry on getting better at your job. But for me, unless I'm bossing my wife around and telling her which tea towel to use to do the dishes, it's hard for me to caddy from home, if you know what I mean.
Okay. So no problems on the domestic front. Have you been beaten up badly yet?
Well, I'm still married.
You look terrible. You look terrible.
This is about the best I've looked in the whole of lockdown. I had about a 2 inches chopped off the bottom of my beard the other day. I knew I was coming on the show, so I didn't want to embarrass Sean too much because I know he's just got like a little baby beard right now. So I took a couple of inches off. This is as smart as it's looked. It was like something out of Castaway, like Tom Hanks before. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to keep busy. I'm doing plenty of stuff around the house, like I say. I've actually sort of taken up a new hobby. I've started getting into coffee drinking and making my own coffee. I get the beans roasted locally here in Brunei, and then I've got my own espresso machine, and I've kind of gone down that little route of learning how to make really good coffee. Apart from looking after the dogs, I've been out hiking quite a bit. There's some really good national parks and some nice steamy hot jungle for me to go trekking in, which I try and do that a few times a week just to keep my cardio up. Really, I mean, people probably don't realize, but as caddies, we are walking the same amount of time as the golfers. Quite often I'll walk the golf course before we play the round as well. So we're doing almost twice as much walking as the players sometimes. So I got to keep my fitness levels up, albeit that we're not going to restart until, probably the middle of July, end of July. I don't want to just suddenly wake up on July the 10th and realize I've got a huge beer belly like Mr. Pereira there. I need to keep in shape.
Oh, I've been trying to be nice, mate. I've been trying to be nice, bro. First shot. I like that. Hey, you're talking about the beard, bro. There've been some questions about, what was the inspiration behind you growing this whole facial beard?
I mean, it just came about. I was playing golf, as we've mentioned. I was playing golf in Asia for quite a long time. I stopped competing probably almost 4 years ago now. And when you're playing golf and when you're a professional golfer, you have to look reasonably smart and well kept. So reasonably smart. Reasonably smart. I won't go too far. Okay. So when I stopped playing golf, I was kind of like, hey, I'll grow a beard. I've never had one before. And as soon as I grew it, people would make comments and say, oh, it looks so bad. You must get rid of it. It's so scruffy. You look like a garden gnome, blah, blah, blah. Your head's on upside down. All of these funny things. And the more abuse I got, the more I pushed back and the longer it started to grow. So, and then it was actually the Maybank Championship at Sarjana. I was caddying for Ari at the time, and Ari had a great first round. I think he shot 66 or something like that. So he was on TV a lot. And because he was on TV, I was sort of skulking around in the background with this great big beard. And I got a lot of attention from friends back in the UK. They were all saying, hey, you're on TV, your beard's famous. The commentator just called it a fantastic beard or something like that. So, ever since then, it's become my trademark, and I've kept it around.
Okay, cool. Nick, you mentioned about staying fit aerobically, but I guess it's for Danny. I mean, I guess it's not just about staying fit aerobically. You need to work on your golfing muscles. So, do you work out a lot? Especially now under quarantine, it must be a bit difficult to do exercise.
Yeah. I've been working out a little bit as well. I got all my exercise gear with me whenever I travel. So I do a bit of workout in the room by myself. Yeah.
Okay. So Danny, you've won twice on the Asian Tour. Both times in Taiwan, and obviously your British Open experiences, 3 in all, making the cut at St Andrews, in 2010. What stands out for you in your career? Is there a particular moment that you will cherish for the rest of your life?
I think all the win that I have, either is making cut in St Andrew or is all very special to me. It's just something that it shows that my work have paid off. What I worked on has paid off. Very thankful to the people who've been working with my game. Who've been supporting me. Yeah.
But I guess St Andrews must have been really special, being at the home of golf, and making the cut in a major, making history in the process.
Yeah, definitely. St Andrews is probably definitely one of my highlight in my career. Like making my first cut in the British Open, especially in the home of golf. It was really rough neck wrecking because I made it on the dot. And then the worst part, I think the second day got suspended. So everybody's still playing. I already finished, and I'm on a cut line, and I've been checking the score. Even though everybody finished, I'm still checking on the internet. And then I realized, the score is not going to update anymore because nobody is playing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, I was there, so I know what Danny went through, but it happened. First
Yeah.
Malaysian to make the cut in the men's major and in the history books. But I'm
Mm.
sure, Nick, as a caddy as well, you must have many, many interesting stories about life on tour. Perhaps you could share a few, but bear in mind there are probably some juniors listening, so keep it, nice and safe.
Yeah, I mean, you know what the old saying is? The old saying is that what goes on tour stays on tour. So there's
Yep.
plenty of stories, but there's probably not very many that I can, like you say, tell before the watershed, before while there's young children listening. But I've been fortunate enough as well to go to the last two Open Championships at Carnoustie with Jazz, and then last year in 19 I went to Portrush with Kurt Kitayama. Both of whom have obviously played a lot of golf in Asia, and they were just such unbelievable events for me. Coming from England, coming from the home of the British Open, it's such a lifelong dream for me to play in the Open, but I was nowhere near good enough. Nowhere near good enough. I was even further away from playing in it than Sean Pereira there, but. Shot number two.
Number two.
To go there as a caddy was the next best thing, and unfortunately we haven't made the cut in the Open yet with either one of my players, but I can't wait to keep going back and hopefully be able to walk up that 18th fairway on a Sunday with a bit more in contention.
But do you enjoy being on the back? Having been on the other side, so to speak, must have been a bit strange initially.
It was surprisingly easy. The word easy maybe comes across as arrogant. I don't mean it's easy to do the job, but it was easy to make the switch, because I think as a player, I was always very good at the preparation side and maybe the strategy and the stuff like that. I could always do that part of the game. I just wasn't very good at hitting the ball where I wanted to. So I could, I knew how to play the golf course. I knew how to shoot 65 in my head. I just didn't do it very often because my skills didn't match up with my knowledge of the game. So in actual fact, I found it, very fulfilling and very satisfying going across to the other side of the bag. All the sort of attention to detail, the drills and the practice and the preparation, that sort of plays into my ballpark, and I really enjoy those parts. And now I'm able to stand at the side of the tee box and watch much better golfers than me hit the ball where we talk about, and that's very fulfilling. That's very exciting to watch, and it's great to be a part of it. And I've been very fortunate to caddy for some pretty good players so far. I haven't had a chance to caddy for Mr. Chia there, but I did caddy just on one occasion for Gavin Green when we played with Danny in the CIMB qualifier a few years ago, and Danny managed to beat us on the first playoff hole. So I have walked a couple of holes with Danny Chia. That's my claim to fame. There you go.
Oh, that's interesting, Nick. I like the fact that you're very honest. You're talking about not being good enough on the other side of the bag. You're talking about other players. That's honesty is good, bro. Honesty.
You know me, Sean. I'm always honest. That's why I'll tell you when your beard doesn't look as good as mine, bro.
Number three, bro. I'm keeping track, bro. I'm keeping track.
Okay, we're gonna not give Nick a chance to get another cheap shot at Sean. So we're gonna move to a slightly more serious topic for Danny. Even though right now professional golf is not happening, but nothing's happened in Malaysia since January. So perhaps you could maybe share with us some developments on the standoff between the PGAM and PGM on the issue of sanctioning.
I think since after the Malaysian Open, I haven't seen much news or any information on the situation. I don't know. Are they still still going to have the conversation or not? Because I'm not getting any information from the council. And I'm stepping down as a vice president soon. So I don't know what else to say at the moment. Yeah.
But it must be really tough for those players who don't have a card on the Asian Tour or the ADT, with no events to play, no way to make a living, so to speak.
It's always difficult. I mean, I think I think since when I turned professional until now, I mean, I think the most successful Malaysian tour have ever had is probably during the 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 Malaysian tour. What's it
T-
called?
TDC, TDC tour,
TDC tour. Yeah, that's right.
TDC. Yeah, correct,
Yeah.
correct.
I think that time probably the most successful. Where they have quite a lot of event going on. But after that, there hasn't been really a lot of event going on in Malaysia anyway. That's why in the beginning I kind of set my sight playing outside Malaysia, like the Asian tour, you know. So I never really think that by playing in Malaysia you can actually survive. But again, of course, it's a few event better than nothing, especially right now. At this crisis, there's nothing going on. It's very difficult for the touring professional to make a living. As you say, you can see a lot of new type of format going on now, like playing indoor golf or playing an event without spectator. There's probably something what we should look at in the future.
Okay.
Of course, it's another issue is also the sponsor will be an issue. I mean, I actually hope that the big corporate Malaysian company that probably had to start looking at sponsoring the local event a little bit more, because after all this crisis, all the individual country in the world, they will have their own economic crisis. I think the only way to build them back is by like for Malaysia is buying Malaysia product, spend money in Malaysia, and the sponsors sponsoring Malaysia event.
Yeah, go local. Speaking of local events, Danny, just before the Malaysian Open, you actually hosted an event, the Zurich PGAM Invitational.
Yeah.
So, could you tell us about that? How that came about? Is something you're giving back to golf in Malaysia?
Yeah, I had the thought, I think probably quite some time ago, like maybe a year ago. It's just that I never had the time to really look into it. And then I think end of last year, I kind of, I get a lot of people talking to me and say that Malaysia is very difficult to get a sponsor to have an event. Everything seems like impossible. Everybody talked to me when I told them about my idea. They say, "Oh, this is impossible. That's impossible." Then I kind of got fed up. Then I start thinking, okay, why don't I personally go make some call and talk to some people and talk to my sponsor? I tell them about this idea of having junior playing with a pro together. Because to me, I think this is something new that I can't recall I've seen any format like this going on before, even in the US. So I thought it would be a good idea. So I start selling this idea to one of my sponsor, and I mean, very fortunately, less than 10 minutes, he kind of straight away said, okay, I buy the idea. I'm going to sponsor the event. Yeah, so that's fantastic for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it turned out very well. I think the juniors had a great time. The pros had a great time as well. It's kind of like acting like a big brother to all the juniors. Is it going to happen next year? Has there been any talks?
One of the sponsor is very happy about the event. He actually already confirmed for next year. So that's good news. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Danny, for sharing that. Yeah,
no problem.
So let's hope that the local tour gets back on track once it's okay to have tournaments again. But looking at a country that has a very strong local tour, Thailand. Okay, of course not right now with the downturn, with the coronavirus thing. But Nick, perhaps you've caddied for Jazz as well, Asian Tour #1. What is it about the Thais? The Thais like Tong Chai, Kira Dak, and now Jazz. What makes them so good? Is it the Tom Yum or
I mean, they've definitely got very spicy golf games if it's anything to do with their food. But yeah, it's a great question, and I'm sure the Malaysian golf authorities have been asking themselves the same question that their next door neighbor can be so sort of dominant within the sort of Asian Tour region. I think you got to look even further back than Tongchai. I mean, Taiwan Chance won more tournaments in Asia than anybody else, and I struggle to look past the fact that it's strength in depth. There's so many professional golfers in Thailand. When they play their Thai local tour events, they have I remember going over to Thailand and trying to qualify for some of those tournaments, and they'll have a Monday qualifier with 150 guys playing. That's to get into the Tuesday qualifier, which if you get through that, then you get into the tournament. And these are just local tournaments for the Thai pros, and yet you've got hundreds and hundreds of golf pros who are playing against one another. So the whole sort of strength in depth thing, because there's so many of them, it pushes each other on. And then the standard of golf within those tournaments, those local events, is insane. Guys are shooting 20 under, 25 under every single week. So then they learn to have to go low. They learn that they have to shoot 65 on a Sunday to win the tournament. And I think it builds that resilience within them. Again, it's hard to look past a brand like Singha who support professional golf in Thailand so strongly. All the players are sponsored by one brand. A lot of the tournaments are sponsored by the same company. And I'm not advocating one type of beer over another, but it's a brand getting behind professional golf in a country like no other. I believe I can't think of another country that has one dominant brand that sort of that really encourages professional sport. So yeah, I think it's a strength in numbers thing. I mean, people always talk about the Thai players and the strong short games, but I don't think the grasses are very, very similar to the grasses in Malaysia. The golf courses are very similar to the courses in Malaysia. I don't think there's anything special that's producing this conveyor belt of good players, other than their sort of exposure to really top level golf and some support. And that's why I'm sorry I couldn't hear what Danny was saying. There's something wrong with my earpiece, but that's what the local tours. Hopefully, something can be rectified, and we can get professional golf in Malaysia, up and running as quickly as possible once this whole COVID thing is over and done with. Because ideally, the more competition that the guys can have, and the better they're going to play, and the more chance you've got of producing some Asian Tour winners like Danny, like Gavin, like all the good players before them.
Danny, do you agree what Nick says? That it's just a question of numbers and the fact that a corporate like Singha is behind golf so strongly in Thailand.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as I say, all these big corporate company in Malaysia, they should consider some sort of like funding or foundation for Malaysia golf, because if you want to develop a golfer, you're not talking about 1 month, 1 year, 2 year time to make Gavin Green to come up. I mean, I'm very sure you guys know how long it takes Gavin Green to come up, as what it is today, and it's still growing, which is great. But in terms of if you're looking at, if you have to look at more population in golf, then from there, you get more chances of better player to come up. But not everybody can afford to play this game, and not to mention like travel abroad to play tournament. I mean, I was very fortunate that I play well and make some money in the local tour before, and then so that I got money to go out and play. But if you're asking a guy and said, use your own money, go out and play, I'm very sure you won't get many of them to do that. Yeah, so I think a big support from a big corporate company is really needed.
But that support needs to extend into their playing careers as well. I understand that Singha actually sponsors the players when in their first few years on tour as well.
Yeah, I mean I think a lot of the professional golfer in Thailand, they are under Singha. It's quite amazing what Singha have did for them, for golf in Thailand.
Okay. Thai players have dominated the Asian tour for a long time, and now they are in Europe, with Kira Deck, and now Kira Deck's on the PGA tour. But going closer to home, the Asian Tour started off very well this year, with right up to the Bandar Malaysia Open, then got derailed by the COVID-19 virus. But it's been a struggle for the Asian Tour over the last few years. So perhaps Nick, being so closely linked to the tour, caring for golfers and all. What do you think are the main challenges that prevent Asian golf, professional golf, from being right up there with the European Tour, and the PGA Tour, perhaps?
Well, I mean, all along, it sounds sort of ruthless to talk about it, but it comes down to finances. It comes down to the size of the purses. Obviously, the PGA Tour is the big show. That's where everybody aspires to get to, because those guys are playing for $8-9 million every single week. So we've had a few of those events when the CIMB Classic came along to the Asian Tour. And then we've had some good support with the Maybank Championship and stuff like that within Malaysia. But generally speaking, the purses are lower in Asia, and so guys quite often will use the Asian Tour as a stepping stone, if you will, to getting to Europe or getting to the PGA Tour. So directly after the COVID situation, that's only going to get harder. That's only going to get worse, for want of a better word, because sponsors will be just as affected. All the companies around the world will be affected by the situation. So there will be less money, if you like, to invest in professional sport, and golf being one of those. So the Asian Tour are going to be faced with exactly the same problem that the European Tour are facing, and the PGA Tour to a lesser extent. Sponsors will be harder to come by, and purses will perhaps shrink in the short term. Maybe that will help the Asian Tour if everybody else has to take a step back. Maybe that'll help the fact that the Asian Tour has been running on sort of a smaller budget with smaller tournaments slightly. But yeah, I mean, hopefully at this stage, I think golfers, caddies, golf fans, everybody around the world is just hoping for some kind of golf to watch or compete in. So at this stage, I think whatever the powers that be can do. I mean, the PGA Tour seems to be coming back the first ahead of everybody else, but I don't think that's any coincidence that all their events will be in the same geographical country. So the traveling will be a lot easier to control, testing and all those kind of things. Europe will probably come back second, I would have thought. There's talk of events starting in July, and mainly within the UK. So again, you can sort of limit the amount of travel and exposure players and caddies and the whole sort of traveling circus of the professional tours have from traveling from country to country. And then hopefully then Asia can start up as quickly as it can, and the Asian Tour can continue going from strength to strength. I believe that the Asian Tour has been getting stronger over the last couple of years, from the number of events, from the strength of fields, from the players as well. I mean, yeah, you're going to go look at the likes of Jazz and Kiridesh and Gavin and players that have won the Order of Merit and then gone on to do pretty spectacular things around the world, whether it be on the PGA Tour or in majors or in Europe.
Okay, thanks, Nick, for that insight. Danny, supposing once tournaments get back online, what would be your main concern as a player? Going out on tour again. When the tours resume.
Probably the quarantine, because that will take up a lot of time. I mean, because because we don't know how long is this border control quarantine is going to finish. I think, I mean, it's going to be very difficult to make a decision at the moment for anybody, because you want to look at the health first, or you want to look at your income, because I keep feeling that you have to look at the health control first. Like, I mean, even right now, I know some of the places that have started some event. I actually don't think it's a good time to start at the moment. I mean, I like the TrackMan indoor thing, I don't mind, but you're talking about starting an event. How are you going to start them? Because for Asian Tour, you have so many different country players going into a venue to play. And if all of them have to go through a 14 quarantine day, and then when they finish the event, they go back their own country. They have to go through another 14 quarantine day. You're looking at a 1 month quarantine for one event. So you're looking at 5 weeks to play one event. So that's why just now I was mentioned that it's better off that we strengthen our local event, talking to the corporate sponsor to start having a local event first, to at least for the professional player to have some game going on, instead of traveling abroad and start playing event. Unless you're talking about like, I go to Japan, I do a 2 weeks quarantine, and then I stay in Japan for 4 months or 5 months, and then I come back.
Yeah.
That probably make more sense. But if you're looking at Asian tour, it's going to be very difficult because every event is
country
in
to
different
country.
country.
Yeah. Correct,
so I mean, I hope they come up. Well, I cannot think of any idea how they're going to start it.
Yeah. But for you having your card for the Japan, the challenge tour in Japan, that's probably something you might look at, actually going back to Japan, serve out the quarantine and stay on.
Yeah, but
once the tour starts.
Yeah, well, that's the problem here, is it? Because first, when you play in Japan Challenge Tour, you probably need to do the resident card, the visa, and that normally take about 2 weeks. With the situation right now with the government, I mean, a lot of their sector is kind of like half open, half closed. So a visa that take 2 weeks end up for me almost 1.5 months. So what about the other player that playing on the Challenge Tour as well? So I mean, when are they going to start? That's still a question.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Danny. Still under quarantine. So, Sean, what's up next for the show?
We're just gonna go around. I think there was some questions from our viewers. One of them was Albert Rajasingham. I think we was touched on slightly earlier by Danny and also by Nick in terms of what's the main difference. I think we've addressed that. There was also a question in his line that he asked whether we could do something at the junior level, which again, I think it was touched briefly by Danny in terms of getting corporates to come in. And he also mentioned about how it's going to be a process that needs to start from a young age. Danny did bring it up, and an example that he used was Gavin Green, on how long it took Gavin to reach where he is, and he is still learning the trade, moving up in the world of professional golf, right? And the next question we had from Mr. Gordon McLeod is whether Nick Pugh is missing Malaysian food.
Nick?
Yeah.
You miss your char kway teow? You miss your char kway teow?
Malaysia boleh, bro. You got the right shirt.
I can't tell you how much I miss Malaysian food, bro. I mean, I know I live next door in Brunei, and hey, there's some great food here in Brunei, but I miss my nasi lemak and roti canai and teh tarik in the morning.
But I don't think the Malaysians miss you, but it's okay. It's okay.
Oh, fun. Good shot back. Yeah. I mean, it's got to the point where I've even started making my own beef rendang in my kitchen, and I'm not much of a chef, but hey, at least it's edible. So,
but they should have. Don't they have rendang in Brunei? They should have pretty good rendang in Brunei.
They do, but I don't want to get kicked out of the country here, but I don't think the food was. I think the food in Malaysia was
okay. We get you.
Bagus.
Okay, we get it. And Julian Lu says he's going to buy you nasi lemak the next time you come into Malaysia, Nick.
Perfect. I'll hold him to that.
Okay. Yeah. So it's been a great show, but we're gonna take a step back right now to be on a slightly more somber note. I think everybody knows that we lost one of the great icons of Malaysian golf just last week, V. Nellen. One of the most popular figures, most iconic figures in Malaysian golf, left us at age 71. Just last Saturday. So it's a huge loss for Malaysian golf. I knew Nellen quite well. He calls me regularly when he gets back from one of his overseas teaching jaunts. I'll miss him. I'll miss those calls. Nellen never want to mince his words. Always with an opinion, always with a joke, always with a funny anecdote about his golfing experiences. He's played in 2 World Cups, won the PGA Championship of Malaysia in the 80s. So a truly big loss for Malaysian golf. We'll miss you, Nellen. Rest in peace. I'll see you when in that great golf course in the sky. Danny, I'm sure you played with Nellen in the early days of your career. Perhaps you could, share some experiences of your meetings with Nellen in those days.
Yeah, I actually never. I don't remember I played with him before, but I met him a few times. You know, we chat a few times. He always share his playing experience in the old days with me. I I think when he's at his prime, I haven't even started golf yet. So
Yeah.
I know he won the 1987 Malaysia PGA. They played two World Cup. Again, like any senior professional that we lost is a great loss in golf because through their experience, they can help a lot of up and coming player. I mean, even from my very first coach, Alan Murray. I think the biggest
We lost
benefit
him.
that I get from him, is sharing his experience with me. So same goes to Nellen. I think he's a great legend golfer in Malaysia. It's a big loss for us to lose him.
Yeah, so our condolences to the family of Nellen. We'll miss you. But back to the show. We'd like to thank Nick and Danny for coming on. Sean, it's been great
Cheers.
having them, hearing what they have to say from the other side of the rope, so to speak. Mm.
Yeah, so you guys want to share a few parting words before you go? I mean, I know Nick's got a lot to say, so let's start with Danny first.
Okay. Hopefully my remaining quarantine day will go through really quick. And I'm here to wish all the Muslim friends out there Selamat Hari Raya.
That's a nice one.
Great.
And Nick, before you start, Nick, Ken Kudo says he likes your shirt.
Yeah, I just saw that message in the bottom corner there. Hello to Ken, and obviously Ken used to work there at Sarjana, and he's now working with the Asian Tour, and hopefully he'll be one of the guys steering the Asian Tour up to success once this COVID situation is finished. I'd just like to say thank you for having us on the show. It's been a pleasure spending some time with Jonathan and Danny.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Number four.
The final one. Okay, Jonathan, you want to wrap it up, bro?
Echo Danny's Danny's words there of wishing all our Muslim viewers Selamat Hari Raya.
Thanks guys for being on the show. We really appreciate it. I know Danny's got not a lot of time on his hands being under quarantine, but so do we all. But still, Nick, thanks for joining us all the way from Brunei. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you everyone for coming. To my co-host SP Shono. Despite all the below the belt shots from Nick, it's been a great show. And again, like to wish all our Muslim viewers Selamat Hari Raya Aidil Fitri. Stay safe and go easy on the rendang. I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye guys.
See you. Bye.